My family was planning a trip to Manitoba to visit some relatives. And this was like a dark cloud on my horizon. I just couldn't picture driving all those miles with a newborn baby. I just couldn't do it. So the morning that we were supposed to leave, I announced to my husband that I wasn't going to go. I wanted everyone else to go and have a good time. And I thought that maybe just being at home in the house with my baby and me all by ourselves, that it would be a good time for me to pull myself together and get back to my normal self. Well, I didn't know how wrong I was. After they left, I suddenly felt totally alone and abandoned. My mood, rather than getting better, was actually getting worse day after day. My life was so black. There was no color. And my thoughts started turning really ominous. I don't know where those thoughts came from. It was like an alien had invaded my mind. I guess I was still grieving the loss of my brother, who had committed suicide when I was only 6 months pregnant. And the thought of his death, I don't know if that was a trigger for me, but I started thinking of ways to kill myself. And the horrifying thought was that if I die, I have to take Alana with me. And through all this, I was still totally in love with my baby. I loved her fiercely. And despite how I was feeling, I managed to take care of all of her needs, her changing her diapers, feeding her, taking her for walks, and just hugging her and just showing her that I loved her. And when I was at the very, very darkest point in my life, from somewhere, I don't know from where, I think it was my higher power, there was a glimmer of hope. And what came to my mind was that Dr. Graham would understand. Dr. Graham was my family doctor, and she had been there for me throughout my pregnancy, and she understood. She knew what I was going through. So I made an appointment to go and see her, and sure enough, she was there for me. She was wonderful. She was so empathetic, so understanding. And she was just everything I could have hoped for. She started me on an antidepressant, which really, really helped boost my mood. I wish I could just tell you that that's where it all started getting better, and I was totally better. But unfortunately, when my maternity leave was up and I went back to work, I had a very, very serious relapse that required hospitalization for a while. While I was in the hospital, I was determined to get through this. I would do anything in my power to get through this dark period of my life. I worked closely with my psychiatrist and just did everything he asked. I read every book I could get a hold of on how to get through depression. And gradually, and it is a long, slow, gradual journey, I did get through it. And I'm on the other side now, and I could honestly say, thank you. I can honestly say that I'm a better, stronger person for having gone through this difficult time. In the next few minutes, I would like to just spend some time telling you 3 steps that I took towards building resilience back into my life. Number 1, connection. You heard me tell you about calling Dr. Graham. You know, if I hadn't called her, I honestly don't know if I would be standing here in front of you today. Reaching out when you're down and depressed or going through a difficult journey for whatever reason. The worst thing you can do is to just sort of dig a hole and hide. You need to reach out to your family, friends, your family doctor like I did, or a mental health counselor. I think one of the best kept secrets in London is the Crisis Mental Health Center on 648 Huron Street. It's I know because I work there. It's a 24/7 walk-in mental health crisis counselor, no appointments needed, and it's free. So if anybody wants to talk about that some more afterwards, I'd be happy to talk to you. So, connection. The second thing, I think it kind of blends in with the theme tonight, and for me, one of the most important things besides connection was exercise. You see, exercise releases some natural chemicals in your body called endorphins. And we've all heard about that rush that you can feel after a good workout. Well, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do anything really fancy, although Jan would be happy if you joined her gym. Yeah. But for me, it's just brisk walking every single day. My trusty Fitbit keeps me motivated and on target. And so anybody can do it, walking or whatever turns you on, do it, and do it every day. And think of it as giving yourself a gift. Don't look at it, exercise as a chore, because you're giving yourself a gift of mental health and physical energy. So that's step number 2. Step number 3, keep a positive attitude. Throughout this dark period of my life, I refused to give up. I refused to let this illness get me down. Well, it did get me down, but I didn't let it keep me down. I managed to be optimistic and ask myself every day, what little thing can I do today to make my life better and happier? I'll never forget the World War II documentary that I watched on television. While the guns were blasting and the bombs were bursting, in the background you could see the birds were still flitting around. And no matter what happens, the birds still sing. Well, my baby Alana is all grown up now. She's in Guelph studying for her Bachelor of Science degree. She turned 25 not too many months ago, and I took her out for lunch on her birthday. Over lunch, I wanted to tell her that even though my pregnancy with her was completely unexpected, I never, ever called it a mistake. It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise that I would never give up for the whole world. I also wanted to tell her how much I loved her and how my love for her had saved both of our lives so many years ago. As we left the restaurant, she gave me one of her signature bone-crushing hugs. And I saw the blue sky reflected in her beautiful eyes, and suddenly I realized that I was happy, very, very happy.